Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Spring training 2020, it rolls on. And today, it's the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball with Rick Ankiel. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us on a beautiful day here in Jupiter. And let's jump right into it. Spring training now winding down. Let's talk about what happens on the field. Colton Wong at the top of the Cardinals lineup. He might be the Cardinal leadoff hitter this year.
It's certainly looking that way. When you look at his ability to what he's done to be able to carry over from last year, he's a high on-base percentage guy. For me, watching what he's been able to do, especially with 2 strikes in any count, put the bat on the ball, take the ball the other way, and take whatever's given to him, it makes sense to me.
Another aspect of this lineup and a good camp that's been put together is the middle of the lineup. Paul Goldschmidt batting third. Who hits behind him? Well, it might be Paul DeYoung.
Well, he certainly looked really comfortable in spring. I think when you talk to him, he'll tell you the same. His body language of what he's been able to do in there, to me, he looks like he's found something. And if he can stick with that, he's going to have a very good day.
It's a National League style game here this afternoon. The DH is not in play, so that means that Adam Wainwright will do something he loves to do, and that's hit. He's also going to pitch. Adam Wainwright on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. We've got our starting lineups at our first pitch, and it comes your way next on the home of the Redbirds, Fox Sports Midwest. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by your local Kia dealers. Visit KiaDealers.com to see what it means to give everything. By Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, the official car and truck of the St. Louis Cardinals. It is a beautiful day for baseball here at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. With Rick Ankiel, I'm Dan McLaughlin. And just like everybody else, been talked about so much, wash your hands. No fist bumps, no handshakes, elbows. And this crowd is noticeably smaller for this time of year, as some of the folks I'm sure are staying away with what we've seen in the NBA. College basketball tournaments have shut down, but we play today. After today, well, who knows? Adam Wainwright will get the start for St. Louis.
No, I think you're exactly right. When you look at this as, what's happening around the world, in the country, and happening in the sports world, especially when they're starting to shut stuff down, it can be scary. And I think you got to take it, not to take it lightheartedly, but take awareness of it. And
you have to.
You have to.
Jonathan Villar, the switch hitter for Miami, will lead it off. And I know you've heard from so many people, whether it be around the media or friends and family, about spring training, about the games. Will they continue? And at this point, we don't know. But if we do hear during the broadcast, certainly we would pass that along. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Villar was one of the top players in the American League for Baltimore a year ago and acquired for a minor league pitcher. There's a swing and a miss.
He is a very intelligent player. If we get a chance to see him get on base, the way he gets jumps on balls, what he's paying attention to, I got a chance to watch him play quite a bit. Big fan. Curveball just missed on the outside corner there. Here you see Waino trying to freeze him here on that outside pitch. Villar doing a good job of taking that.
John Birdie on deck, and here is the 2-2 pitch. That's tapped foul.
You see Waino there trying to throw that cutter off of that curveball away. It looks just like that pitch. When they talk about tunneling, when you see that come out of his hand, instead of thinking, hey, this is that curveball, it's going to be a ball. If that cutter cuts, and he had to swing right there, cuts right back doors him right there, that's strike 3.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And a ground ball that's hit to second baseman Colton Wong. He gobbles it up for the out, and there's 1 away.
Right there, you see him pitching out of that exact same tunnel. He went curveball away, cutter away, and then fastball out there on that exact same plane.
Take a look at the Marlins lineup for Don Mattingly. Villar at the top, then Birdie, Dickerson, Aguilar, the former Milwaukee Brewer, Joyce, Rodriguez, Wallach, Alvarez, and Urena. So for the moment, the games go on, and I'm sure your curiosity is piqued undoubtedly if you're a baseball fan, sports fan, it doesn't matter. It's affecting everybody. And so if we get word on some of the things happening around Major League Baseball, we will pass it along. Here's an 0-1 pitch. And a beauty in there. Old Uncle Charlie.
Bueno looks like he's got that pitch working today.
Curveball usually the last to come in spring training for a pitcher?
For me, it was. You know, I think the way the modern game has changed now, these guys come into spring ready to go. It seems like the hitters are more ready than ever, and so are the pitchers. But, you know, definitely when I was coming through, that's kind of the way they taught it too. They wanted you to get fastball command first.
Strikeout for Adam Wainwright. His first of the day, and he'll bring in Corey Dickerson. Dickerson was brought in the offseason. Career .286 hitter. He's been an all-star and a gold glover. Of his 7 major league seasons, the only time he hit below .263 was in 2016. He's been with the Rockies, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh. Finished up last season with the Phillies.
Love it.
Gotta love it. It's old Uncle Charlie, man.
Especially to Dickerson, who can hit a fastball as good as anyone in the league.
Here is the 0-1 pitch to Corey Dickerson. Popped up, left side. Tommy Edman, your left fielder today, near the line, and makes the catch. Marlins go 1-2-3. And the Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. No score, bottom of the first. Colton Wong leads it off for St. Louis. And then Tommy Edman, Yadier Molina against Jose Urena, who figures to be in the rotation again for the Miami Marlins. He can get it up there. He's a hard thrower, went 4-10 a year ago. And the first pitch is strike at 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, he had a wonderful 17, and 18 was pretty good too. Last year, not what they were expecting, so they're definitely hoping that he can have a bounce back year.
Sandy Alcantara would be at the top of their rotation as Wong pops that foul down the left field line. It's not an easy sun field, is it?
No, it's not. When you talk about left field here, the sun here, the positioning of it, even though they're routine catches, that sun can really affect where you play in left and how you have to attack the baseball when you're trying to catch the fly ball.
Not sure I agree with this. Even with 2 strikes, putting a shift on for Colton Wong, who has been taking the ball the other way. And that's by design.
Yeah, I don't either. I'd be interesting to see the analytics that they're looking at that's telling them to do that, especially what we've seen Colton be able to do.
Now, clearly, the numbers would tell you to do this. But he's shown a propensity to hit the ball the other way, and now he's hit by a pitch. Second time he's been hit in camp, and he's back in lineup today after being hit on the leg over the weekend.
Here you see him trying to throw that slider down there and then ends up hitting him in the leg. And this kind of, when you're watching them shift him, it kind of, you know, for me now watching him get hit twice is scary, because maybe they're thinking if we throw something on the outer half, he will pepper it the other way. So, hey, let's shift and just pepper him on the inside corner, which we might see that more often.
Good point. So Wong, the runner at first base, and now Tommy Edman getting a start in left field today, and Edman sends a fly ball into left center. There to make the catch, Dickerson, with VR right there too, and back to the bag goes Wong. Mike Schultz lineup: Wong, Edman, Molina, then DeYoung, Miller, Fowler, Bader, Ravello, and Wainwright.
If I had to guess, I'd say Villar and Dickerson might be working on communication tomorrow during practice.
I would say so. That's what spring training's for, right?
Exactly right.
Also, don't get hurt. Come out healthy. It's a couple guys that will be in their everyday lineup. Here's Molina. And strike one.
Molina really attacking that first pitch all spring training.
He's been doing that for about 20 years, too. He loves to go after that first pitch, doesn't he?
I don't blame him. You know, it seems today in the modern world, the pitchers are trying to get ahead as quick as possible with their best stuff. And they're coming at you with their best 2 pitches instead of trying to set you up with something. I know what I do well. I'm going to do it right now. Whatever you do well, you better do right now.
And it's pitching backwards a lot of times, too, which when you broke into the league, that really necessarily wasn't the case. You know, you come in a fastball, set it up, and then you might see the off speed. But now you're seeing guys start change up curve before the fastball.
Right. The new modern way of pitching. Don't try to, you know, you're not trying to make it through 7 innings. You're trying to use your best stuff to get through 5 innings technically. So there's no need to set anyone up. Just take what you got and go for it.
And Wong back safely at first. Jose Urena, hard thrower for the Marlins. What he features is pitching breakdown from a year ago. That's hit out of play. So for now, the games continue, but certainly here at the ballpark, everybody around the game, there are fewer scouts in the lunchroom today up here with the media. Some teams have told their scouts to go home, don't travel. And we'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up, talking about what he saw last night with the NBA and this morning and how it pertains to Major League Baseball.
I spoke to the group, just reassured everybody that, you know, hey, this is what we know, which is pretty much what you know. And then we're going to continue to do the best we can as an industry and as a team to make sure everybody feels safe and do what we can for the greater good. But, you know, and then just talked about just, you know, being smart about how you interact with things. And then we talked about baseball.
As Mike Shildt talking about John Mozeliak being in the clubhouse today, addressing the team with what's happening in our world. Mike said he did not see what happened with the NBA until this morning. Goes to bed early, gets here to the ballpark very early. And obviously we're all waiting to hear what Major League Baseball wants to do from here on out as Aguilar taps it foul. So for the time being, this game rolls on.
You know, you'd think it'd be hard not to follow suit when you're watching other sports cancel or suspend what they're doing. You know, I know that our players have been advised not to sign autographs, which, you know, may be tough for the fans, but it's just looking out for the greater good.
Look at the on-deck man, Matt Joyce, and where he's standing in relation to the plate. He's almost in your shot.
I think Bob Gibson might not let him stand there if Gibby was still pitching.
I would agree. Now he goes back to the on-deck circle, but he is very close to the batter.
I think Waino's noticing that. Waino just said something.
That's as close as I've seen a hitter towards the batter, regular season or in spring. And I think Yadi is going to say something here too.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a hitter stand that close.
Yep, Yadi just said something to Joyce, and now he moves. That would be distracting, I'm assuming, for the pitcher.
Very distracting. I can understand that he's trying to get closer to work on his timing of what Waino may be throwing, but one, it's illegal, and two, like you said, that's in Waino's view of the catcher and the hitter.
Yeah. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wainwright enjoyed a 1-2-3 first inning. And a ground ball hit to short. There's DeYoung. Makes the play, and there's 1 away.
Got the fastball in on Aguilar. They're able to jam him there. Aguilar being behind in the count, I'm sure he was thinking as many times as Waino has thrown a curveball to start this game that he might be getting one there.
And for a batter, if you're getting that close to the plate, that's all about trying to time it up, is it not?
Absolutely. I think he's trying to get in there unless he thinks that he has something on Waino tipping and he wants to get an angle from the home plate that would give him a better sight at that.
So 1 out and nobody on, and a curveball drops in for a strike, in the oohs and the ahs from the crowd.
Here you see Waino throwing the good Uncle Charlie there.
And the 0-1 pitch turns it over.
You know, a lot of times on the first pitch curveball, you'll see a get me over the curveball. That one there that he threw for the first pitch did not look like a get me over. That looked like a good one.
That pitch taken low.
Ooh, good job by Matt Joyce being able to take that pitch. To me, it looked like the exact same one he threw for a strike the first pitch of the at-bat.
And that's hit down the right field line. Over to get it will be Dexter Fowler. And Joyce on his way to second base with a one-out double. Take a look at our Toyota keys to the game. Rick, what do you got?
Well, I think for us, it's just getting the reps in and going through today. We're going to see Waino hit for the first time. So getting the reps for everything we got. You know, when you're working on a veteran like Adam Wainwright, I think about him. It's just going out there, getting comfortable, trying to get ahead of the batters. We've seen a lot of cutters after the curveball today. I think that's been interesting. There's something to pay attention to moving forward. And the hitters just getting the ABs.
So one out and a runner at second base after the double by Joyce, and this is Sean Rodriguez. I mentioned the other day that Rodriguez tore up the Cardinals when he was a member of the Pirates, and I wondered so much, you know, how bad was it for the Cardinals in that perspective? He almost hit 400 one year against St. Louis. Couldn't get him out.
That in the water cooler there in Pittsburgh.
He was a little frustrated with that water cooler one time. And that pitch taken low.
Sometimes a hitter that just matches up with the organization's pitching philosophies. And you'll see guys hit really good against one organization and not so well against others.
And the 1-1. Take it low and in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike with an out and a runner at second base.
Base open here. I suspect Waino won't give him anything good to hit and kind of nibble around the zone.
Beauty drops in 2-2.
Uncle Charlie is working here. You see Rodriguez just getting blown up there, thinking a fastball that's going to hit him. We've seen Waino throw quite a few cutters after that curveball. See if he starts this cutter at Rodriguez's front shoulder and drops it in on the top of his back and front hips him.
And the 2-2 pitch. Fly ball. Carrying to Fowler, gets himself in a position to throw. He does have an outfield assist in this camp and makes the catch and the play, and that's out number 2.
Fowler doing a good job of taking a peek at the runner before he was about to catch that, just to see if he was going to have a throw or not. He sees Fowler coming over, and you can see he'll take a little peek here at Matt Joyce real quick just to see if he's tagging up, to see if he's going to have to hurry up and get rid of it.
Still like it when guys get in a position to throw. Do the little things right.
You should do it every single time, so it's not a surprise when you need to do it.
So 2 outs and a runner at second. The pitch taken low. And a ground ball that is hit to short. There's Paul DeYoung. And he makes the play. Marlins strand a runner. Cardinals have DeYoung, Miller, and Fowler coming up in the home half of the second. Lace up your shoes. Saturday, April 11th, Cardinals 5K presented by Fox Sports Midwest. Race will have participants weaving around the streets of downtown St. Louis. Visit cardinals.com/5K to register or volunteer.
Urena has a really good sinker, but he got away with some balls down the middle in that first inning. You got to like this matchup with Pauly D, the way he's seeing the ball if he leaves one over the middle of the plate.
Well, players are not oblivious to what's going on in our world. Many of them are sports fans outside the game of baseball. Couldn't turn on your TV and see what happened and miss it with the NBA last night, and the league is shut down From a player's perspective, Rick, what's going on in that dugout? What's going on this morning in the clubhouse as players are probably wondering, what are we doing as an industry? What's next?
I think it's the fear of the unknown. And I've seen guys say and talk about their families or their parents that they're a little bit older and that they're worried about that.
I would imagine it's not easy to play in this game today. You know, you're thinking about what's going on later today. What are we going to hear about with baseball? Where are we at tomorrow?
I think
opening day is 2 weeks away. As DeYoung sends one high in the air to right field. I mean, it's human nature.
From a mental standpoint, you know, not that it's the same as a rain delay, but when you think you're going to have a rain delay from a mental standpoint, you need to stay into the game, stay focused, stay sharp. When you go out there and put it in cruise control, that's when bad things happen, or that's when you get hurt because you're not going full tilt. You're not trying to compete as well as you can.
I would imagine that's been probably the message from Mike Schilt is, hey, we're hearing everything that everybody else is hearing and seeing and reading, but your escape, if you will, is between the white lines, and focus on the task at hand. And as you mentioned, that's sometimes when guys get hurt. As Miller rolls over on it, Urania will run over to the bag for the out, 2 away. And I think that's one of the things that you have to be careful of if you're a player today.
No question about it. I know I would look in the mirror and think, hey, I got to go after this full tilt. There's no way to not play this because of the uncertainty of tomorrow, or the next day, or the future of spring training or the season.
I wonder if Mike Schilt and Don Mattingly will manage this differently. You know, so the idea would be your starter goes 4 or 5 innings. It's one of the final tune-ups. But if you think that there may not be spring training left, or the season is being pushed back, and how it pertains to this game, how long do you go with those guys? I mean, that's something I think that's on the table maybe.
If it was me, I'm pulling my guys out maybe an inning or 2 earlier. That's for sure, unless they want to stay in.
Here's Fowler. He's had a tough spring at the plate. 069. His numbers from a year ago. 2 outs and nobody on. A shift on the right side.
Good take right there. We talked about Urania's sinker. There's 2 that ran off the plate there. Good job of Dex making him come to him and get that ball over the middle or to the inner half.
And this would be the time in spring that if you're Dexter Fowler, you got to start picking it up. Cardinals want to see that as well. Little check swing, and sometimes these will help you out if you reach. It's a base hit for Fowler.
Be a thing. You know, one guy that brings to mind is Jim Edmonds, and you always look at the veterans and think, you know, is the atmosphere enough to get their juices flowing, to get it going in spring training? Because it's not the same as the season when you have 50,000 in the stands. And one of the guys that could do that the best to me was always Jimmy, where he would come in and he really wouldn't play till this time of spring. He'd play in 10 or 12 games, go 17 for 20, and then have 30 home runs and 100 RBIs by the All-Star break.
There are some, whether you agree with it or not, as you know quite well, that are just trying to get through spring for timing and for health. And they built up a resume to get away with it. It's not like they're fighting for a spot. And that happens with some of the older players. That pitch taken in by Harrison Bader. Fowler back safely at first base. And a strike. It's 1-1. Two balls and one strike. Harrison Bader at the plate. Runner at first, Dexter Fowler, and there's a strike on the inside corner to even it up at 2-2. Bader in this camp batting .250 with 1 home run, and he's driven in 3. And a swing and a miss, strikeout of Bader. Infield hit for Dexter Fowler, and we have played 2 spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. For 30,000 fans 16 and older will have a surprise at the gates when they find out which mystery Hall of Fame parade bobblehead they'll receive, courtesy of Ford. Stan the Man, Jack Buck, Tony La Russa. Who will it be? Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Opening day not sold out.
Who would you want it to be? What bobblehead would you like?
Oh, I'm taking Jack Buck. That's my bobblehead I'd like. I'd like Tony. I'd like Stan, but you know, Jack Buck, you know, in this business, that's my guy. You?
We're not hearing Rick.
Oh, we're not hearing Rick. Okay, so we'll have to get him on a different headset. Here, try that headset.
Am I back?
You're back.
I'm back, baby.
Who are you going with?
Stan the Man. Stan the Man. Used to pitch. Then became a hitter.
It fits you.
Yeah, exactly.
It fits you. I get it. I got to work games with Jack Buck. And it was, as a kid from South St. Louis, growing up a Cardinal fan and loving this industry and doing what I always wanted to do. This is my dream. And then meeting and then working with your hero, Jack Buck. That's pretty cool stuff, man.
It had to be amazing. He did a few of my games as a pitcher and signed a couple of the cards, gave it to me.
So Dan, is it your hero, Rick?
So did he come up to hello, kid?
Yeah, he did. Exactly right. Exactly right. And gave me the game card that he kept, signed it, and I have one at home.
That's awesome.
Was
it as a hitter or pitcher? No, I guess it had to be pitcher, right?
Pitcher.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Well, the crowd today, for those that are just tuning in, it is not nearly as crowded as it normally is. This would be the time of year that spring break is out, and you'd have potentially a sellout. It's still a nice crowd, but not nearly the amount of people that you normally would see at a baseball game in spring training concerning the Cardinals. We are not oblivious to what's happening around us and what's happened with the NBA. And moments ago, it looks like the NHL has suspended their season. And we have not gotten official word on what may happen yet with Major League Baseball. When we do, we will pass it along.
Restaurants noticeably not as crowded yesterday, last few days.
Yes.
Which is another scary side of it, is the economy and what's going to happen.
Oh, man. Urania strikes out. First time through, 3 strikeouts for Adam Wainwright.
Is that fair, throwing on that Uncle Charlie to Urania? It wasn't even close, and he was already jumping out of the box.
No, that is not fair. I'll answer the question for you. No. That's like me going in there and he starts flipping curveballs.
Urania wanted no part of that whatsoever.
Here's Jonathan VR, second time through the lineup. He's coming off a season in which he had a career high in hits, home runs. He had 24 runs batted in, and 3rd in the American League in steals. Malik Smith led the American League. He had 46 with Seattle. He had the 5th best WAR among all second basemen. Wins above replacement in the game. Pretty good year.
High baseball IQ.
And the 2-0 pitch. VR in center field today.
He got a pretty good dose of curveballs. You could see on that one right there, he was definitely looking for that pitch. He wasn't out in front, wasn't fooled. He was sitting back knowing that he was going to get one. Here, you don't see, he's not out in front. He's waiting on it.
Good sinking action on that pitch. He looks good today, doesn't he?
Replay.
He looks very good. Seems like he's got everything working there. You see the fastball down and away. Blard nowhere close.
And a ground ball that stays fair, handled by Ravello. He'll take it himself. Coming up for St. Louis, it'll be Ravello, Wainwright, and Wong midway through 3. Best place to get your tickets, StubHub. And they are an official partner of yours, St. Louis Cardinals. Rangel Ravello, Adam Wainwright, and Colton Wong. And a fastball in for a strike. Ravello, a camp that has seen him play the outfield, also a little first base. Mike Schilt, in addition to talking about where baseball is in relation to the NBA and the NHL, which was primarily his press conference today, did update us on the elbow of Paul Goldschmidt. They were going to try to get him in some games potentially this weekend. Ravello puts it in play to third. And that's the first out.
You know, the way Goldie plays defense, for me, I'm not concerned about him figuring out how to play defense as long as he's getting his ABs and tracking balls in the cage.
As a first baseman, too, you're not asked to throw all that much. You know, a few times you come in, you're charging on a bunt, you got to throw somewhere. And so it's not like you're the shortstop or catcher, another part of the infield, whatever the case may be. Well, you know that Adam Wainwright's been wanting to do this, swing the bat.
He was ready to swing, too. I don't blame him.
Wainwright, after 3 innings, 41 pitches, 29 of which have been strikes. He's been sharp on the mound. And he puts it in play to second.
You know, I wanted that to get to 2 strikes just to see if Urena was going to throw him a slider to return the favor after he buckled him on the curveball.
Yeah, good point. Here's Colton Wong, who is hit by a pitch back in the first inning. Cardinals have had 2 base runners in this game. Wong in the leadoff spot, hit by a pitch, and an infield hit off the bat of Dexter Fowler. And a different look defensively, at least until he gets 2 strikes on him. Playing more traditionally here. Third baseman in, shortstop near the bag at second. And to your point, you could see Urena try to bury him in.
Yeah, it almost seems like, you know, the league's paying attention, too, to what he's been able to do away. Now, as you know, when you're Colton Wong, too, you go up and you see that different defense, and mentally you got to think, are they going to try to pitch me differently here?
Sure.
Right? They were shifted the last time. Now, do I look for a ball away? Do I look for a ball in?
Your final year playing as a hitter was what? 13, 14?
13.
How many shifts were you seeing back then?
None.
I mean, and here we are, you know, 5, 6 years later and 7 years later, and we're seeing now just about every guy with a specific defense towards a shift.
You know, yeah, and it's interesting, you talk to hitters, and, you know, even though the shift's on, are they going to hit into that 4-man shift, the 5-man shift? Maybe roll some balls over and get out, yes, but the way the modern game works, hey, you know what, I'm going to hit my 25, 30 home runs, though, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep trying to do damage instead of just shooting the ball the other way.
It'll be the first walk issued by Urena. And now Tommy Edman, he flied to left his first time up. Two outs and a runner at first. And that is pulled foul.
Edman just ahead of that pitch there. Here you see the shift now with 2 strikes. Lefty up, and they're moving over exactly what they did to Colton when he had 2 strikes. With Urena's sinker as a hitter, I'm looking for something right down the middle so I could try to keep that ball on the plate.
Nothing in 2 the count with 2 outs and a runner at first. Into the shift on the outfield grass, the second baseman.
Waino coming back for more.
Waino coming out for more. First 3 innings have been strong with 3 strikeouts and only 1 hit allowed. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest.
And we're back.
The Budweiser Ballpark Pass gives Cardinal fans the ability to go to every home game for just $29.99 a month. All you need to do is head to your smartphone for details or to purchase. Visit cardinals.com/pass. One hit aside, and we move to the fourth inning. Bertie, Dickerson, Aguilar for Miami. Brad Miller, the third baseman today, playing in. You have to respect the speed of Bertie. According to StatCast, average sprint speed is 29.8 feet per second, 12th fastest in the major leagues. So if you're wondering, the average is 27 feet per second. So this guy can fly.
Most players who aren't fast will tell you they have always wondered what it's like to have that much speed.
And he hits a high fly ball into center, backing up Bader. Even how he does that, Rick, we talk about it a lot, but gets himself in a position every time just to do it fundamentally sound in center field.
Even from the jump right there, what a great jump he got there. You see, as soon as that ball made contact, he's hitting. Here you can watch him see the ball gets hit. Boom, here he goes, getting back, and like you said, getting into position, getting behind the ball. One thing you can teach young guys is if you focus on the backside top of the ball when you're moving back, as an outfielder will always keep you behind it. He does a really good job of that.
You know, we talked a lot about when you came back as a position player, how hard it was to hit. I mean, it's a tough game. It's hard for anybody to hit. But who helped you defensively? Who was a guy that really helped you into becoming a very good defensive major leaguer?
Dave McKay, one of our coaches, would work with me daily. Jumps, reads, things like that. Just working on little things, and then working during BP and getting balls off the bat during live BP. That's where you're going to get your best work. You know, in talking with Willie McGee too, and he believes in the same thing. The more you do that, especially during spring, when you're in BP, you know, when spring training starts, the ball gets hit, and let's say it's 20 feet off the bat before you're really getting a good break. If you really focus in on that by the time spring ends, I mean, it seems like it's 5 feet off the bat, and you're already moving.
Dickerson hits it in the air down the left field line. Edman is over and runs out of room.
Tough play. You got the Marlins bullpen right there. I have no problem with that. I'd rather go in there and have them being safe, especially in a spring training game, than trying to go in there and catch that.
No question. Giants ballpark will actually have their bullpens under the bleachers in left center this year, as those used to be in play in San Francisco. That could be dangerous.
Which is smart, because you can have something like that, and when it's during the season, you're expected to go in there and do everything you can to make that catch.
You bet. 2 balls and 1 strike on Corey Dickerson. Three and 1.
Ciueno trying to get him out with the curveball there. We mentioned his ability to hit a fastball in a 2-1 count. Sometimes I think you know most people feel like that is a fastball count, but you see Ciueno not wanting to give in to him there.
Adam Wainwright was magnificent down the stretch of the 2019 season. Good pitch, got in on him. Shallow left, Tommy Edman with the catch. I would imagine we're going to see Edman play some outfield. He's going to play third. He's going to play a little short, maybe some second, and play the outfield.
I mean, listen, when you watch him play, he does everything so fundamentally sound. It doesn't matter where he's at. He never looks like he's out of position or like he's never played there before. And it's not that easy. You know, if you're in the infield, it's way faster. The ball is way faster. The game is faster than when you're in the outfield. And to make the transition to both and make it look that easy is pretty special. Ciueno with a nice fastball away right there for strike 1. Ball 1. Thought that was a strike.
Spring training, my man. Jesus Aguilar. Aguilar, a couple of years ago, Milwaukee, remember, he had 35 home runs and drove in 108. Last year, fell dramatically to 12 home runs, eventually shipped to Tampa Bay, and then claimed off of waivers here by Miami. Hits it a mile high, and the catch is made. Molina, DeYoung, and Miller coming up for St. Louis.
3.
One hit aside as we play here in the bottom of the fourth. Jose Urena with 3 innings under his belt. 1 hit, a walk. He's hit a man and struck out 1.
Even Yachty swung at the first pitch in his first at bat. If Urena pumps a heater in there, don't be surprised if he's swinging again.
And a fastball taken for his strike by Yadier Molina. Grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. Nothing in 2.
See the movement there on that fastball, and that's what makes him tough to hit when he's pitching well.
Fastball taken high, 97 on the gun. Isn't it amazing how hard guys are throwing late February, middle of March, mid to high 90s every single day?
It's incredible the way the guys come into spring training ready to hit these days. It's not anything like it used to be, and by design. These guys train all year. It's we know exactly how to train, what to do to make you stronger for your body type, how to get you the best you can possibly be, and these guys come in ready to go.
1 ball and 2 strikes, and Molina strikes out. Second strikeout for this hard-throwing right-hander.
What a great pitch there. The first pitch up and away, fastball called for a strike. Threw another fastball out there, and you see that when you talk about tunneling, the ball's coming out of the same tunnel. That looks like the fastball away that he's had to swing at and then breaks late.
The pitch taken inside by DeYoung. For folks that don't know, Rick Ankiel has been in uniform down here working as a coach of sorts, many different roles, varieties. So I want to ask you about DeYoung. Why has he had the success you think he's had at the plate? You've been around him. He's having a great spring. What is it?
He's in a good place. It seemed like when he got here, he must have found something in the offseason, really worked in and honed on it, and he's just been able to come in and replicate it each and single day. I feel like you don't see him chasing a lot, and the pitches that he is getting to hit, he's not missing them.
It's the pitch that would get him a year ago, that pitch up. A lot of guys would elevate with that pitch, and for the most part, generally speaking, he's stayed away from that this spring.
That, and it seems like he's been able to, his body language, or when you talk to him, he's not pressing whatsoever, and he says, I'm in a good spot. I'm not going to grind over making an out. That's going to happen. I may swing at a bad pitch, but it's about staying in the present, getting ready for the next at bat and the next pitch, and it seems like he's done a really good job.
It's so hard to do. Stay in the present. Don't think about your last at bat, good or bad.
Yep, don't think about the last pitch. You see the adjustment there. He just swung at that high pitch. He's able to take the next one. Those are the same things that we've seen Colton Wong do and change into what he's become now as a hitter.
And he got him on a pitch up. Good fastball again. 97 by Urena, and he struck out the first 2 here in the home half of the fourth.
Brad Miller up, left-handed. We see the shift happening over to the right side of the field.
Miller was dealing with a sore back for a good week or so, so he was held out of games. Signed in the very beginning of spring training. 1-year deal. And with the 26th man this season in baseball, obviously his role could be very big. Can play all over the diamond. He's made some really good plays early in spring, whether it be at short, second base, and he is a left-handed bat.
I'm so impressed with this guy's skill set.
It's a ground ball that stays fair, and that will send us to inning number 5. Cardinals go in order here in the home half of the fourth. There's no score.
Rightfully, people are going to be thinking about their safety, the safety of their families, and about the livelihood of our sport and how we compete. But ultimately, like I said, we've done everything we can internally to make sure our players are safe, and nothing's foolproof, clearly.
And that is Mike Schilt from earlier today. Again, we're not oblivious to what's happening here. The players, manager, all personnel around the Cardinals. Internally, folks inside the organization tell me they have established an internal task force. That group is monitoring and developing protocols in response to this, what seems to be developing situation by the hour and by the minute. So when we get word from the Cardinals or Major League Baseball about the next step, we will pass it along. We're in the 5th inning, and this is Matt Joyce. One hit aside, well pitched on both sides, and there's a strike.
And before the break, I was talking about Brad Miller's skill set, and now that we're on defense, if we get a chance to see a long play from deep third, this guy has an absolute cannon, and not only can he play in the infield, but he can play the outfield too, and watching him take infield and outfield is really impressive.
Here's a 1-1. Doesn't get the call. 2 balls and 1 strike. Matt Joyce has the only hit for the Marlins today, and that was a double down into the right field corner. That one is popped foul and out of play.
Joyce has never seen a fastball he doesn't like. So I wonder when he gets up, does he think, you know, the league knows that too. He's been around. Does he go up there sometimes and have to guess and say, all right, I'm going to try to hit off speed this time?
How much of the league is a guess hitter? If you had to put a percentage on it.
I think educated guess, all of them at times. As hard as guys throw now, I think it's
you almost have to.
You almost have to a little bit.
Three-2 pitch, and that is tapped foul.
See Waino trying to get on his hands there with a cutter. Nice located cutter there also.
I want to mention too, the Cardinals have passed along that they're taking the safety of everyone very seriously, from the fans, employees, players. We've heard from Mike Schilt. They have made education and communication in the clubhouse a priority. John Mozeliak playing a huge role, as we know. Mentioned the task force that is headed by VP of Stadium Operations Matt Gifford. Includes representatives from across the organization, from baseball operations to communications, human resources, senior leadership. It's a lot to coordinate, but they're doing it. 3-2 pitch. And a fly ball lifted to Bader in center, shading from the sun. And makes the catch. You wonder, when he kind of stutters a little bit, did he lose it there for a second, but knowing generally where that ball is going to be.
I think when you see guys make miships like that, the sun right there, I feel, you know, now we're getting a little bit later in the game. This sun here at this stadium will start to shift, and I feel like that fly ball right there got into the sun. And for him, because he is so good at getting back on balls and coming through it, when he sees like that, there's something that he lost it there, whether in the sun or for another reason.
Here is Sean Rodriguez. Missed it by a foot. Waino can do that to you, though.
Especially if you go up there guessing. We were just talking about that. You know, Sean clearly going up there and guessing for a first pitch heater right there.
And the 0-1 pitch. Grounded to short. And that is out number 2. And the batter is Chad Wallach, grounded out to short. His first time up. He's had a good spring with a couple of home runs. 10 runs batted in. 10. And a .375 average at the start of play.
Great sinker down in the zone. Here you see Waino 0-0 count. That's a great pitch. Pitcher's pitch all the way.
Curveball fouled back.
See Wallach getting a pretty good swing on that curveball. Looked like he was guessing off speed on that pitch.
So 0-2 the count with 2 outs and nobody on. And the 1-2 pitch. Hit foul and out of play.
You talk about tunneling, and Wainwright, the first pitch, Fastball down the way. That last one, not that one there, but the slider looked like he tried to make it look exactly like that fastball he threw the first pitch, just yanked it a little bit.
And the 1-2 pitch by Adam Wainwright. Line foul into the Cardinal bullpen. If you're wondering how the scene feels here at the ballpark, we're playing baseball. It's a beautiful day, but yet it does have a different feel to it. Would you agree?
It does. Certainly does. You see fastball with, on that last count too. Fastball down the way. I'm looking for a slider.
Missed in.
Here you see him missing with a fastball in. The pitch before he got him to foul off a pitcher's pitch. So still, if I'm Adam, I know that I have that slider in my back pocket away.
Stayed in there and a base hit out to left. Drops in front of Tommy Edman. The second hit allowed by Wainwright. That had been 10 in a row.
You see the balance there. Him staying back on that curveball. Wasn't full whatsoever. Just let his hands do the work.
Talk about keeping your hands back. That might be an example there.
Definitely. I mean, now you can, looking at that at bat, you can see why he's having a good spring. Seen balance throughout the whole at bat, fighting off pitches, stayed in there, got one he could do something with.
Here's Eddie Alvarez, who had a gender reveal the other day. They threw him a balloon, he smashed it, and blue powder went everywhere. So he's having a boy.
Congratulations.
Struck out back in the third inning. Here's an 0-1 pitch by Wainwright. Boy, he's been sharp today.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. You know, you got to think about the pressure on Alvarez when your wife tosses you the balloon because you're a baseball player. What if you miss it?
Yeah, you better not. You better smash that baby. And make sure you get it all going everywhere. A no-doubter, if you will. Nothing in 2, the count. Little tapper hit up the first base line, and Ravello will get it in foul territory.
That ball almost fair or foul. You see Ravello realizing he had time to come in and try to keep it fair so he could pick it up quickly and tag the runner and take the easy out. Here you see the play right here. He could stay back at first base, but you see him looking at it thinking, oh, you know what, let me come in and try to keep this fair. He tries to, but just a little bit late.
Nothing in 2, the count. Runner at first is Wallach. Lines it out to center. Bader, though, is there to make the catch. It'll be Fowler, Bader, and Ravello coming up. What's on tap, and we hope it will be baseball tomorrow. Obviously, a lot of uncertainty around this. Our Budweiser, what's on tap? If we do have baseball, we'll come your way at noon. It'll be the Cardinals and the Astros.
You know, I want everybody to be safe and obviously do the right thing. Selfishly, I'm so excited to watch baseball. So I hope it, I hope it all works out and continues. But like I said, I hope we do the right thing.
The only hit today for St. Louis, Dexter Fowler, an infield hit. 5 very strong innings from Adam Wainwright. And John Gant starts to throw down in the Cardinal bullpen. Urania bringing a heat today. That one at 96. There's a look at Gant. 50 pitches today for this right-hander. Nothing in 2.
There's that good movement on that fastball.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
See the catcher Wallach trying to steal a strike there. Ball off the plate in and trying to jerk that glove quickly back into the strike zone.
You know, when you think about an electronic strike zone, that would be something that goes away. Pitch framing, to an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to sell it to the umpire behind home plate. How you frame it, how you sit softly behind the plate, those kind of things could go away.
I'm not opposed to it if they can figure it out. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges that are coming with that, but only from the standpoint of a hitter's view that I want it to be fair. Just get the call right. It's okay if it was a strike, that's fine, but just be fair. I mean, I don't want to strike out on a pitch that wasn't even close.
And Fowler pops it up to the left side, and it's out of play.
You know, sometimes the umpires will look up there and see that you're hitting 200 and, you know, the pitch is close but maybe not a strike, and they give it to the pitcher. And sometimes that's just the human element of it. But, you know, especially as a hitter, when I'm struggling like that, that's when I need you to buckle down and give me the correct call.
3-2 rolled over by Fowler. Aguilar gets it on the short hop. Urania to the bag and the out. Harrison Bader struck out swinging back in the 2nd inning. And Bader takes strike 1.
Arena's really starting to settle in. It looks like he's really starting to let the ball go pretty good here.
And Bader gets underneath it. Into center, and the catch is made by VR. So with that, there's 2 away. Urania awfully impressive. Both starters have been really good today. The only hit allowed, infield hit by Fowler back in the 2nd. He has hit a man and walked a man, and that was Colton Wong both times.
We're in the bottom of the 5th, and that first pitch fastball to Harrison was at 98.
Hit up the middle. And the pick by Aguilar. Urania through 5. We head to the 6th. On Park called to post. And it's Adam Wainwright, and what he did today. His day is through. 5 innings. Couple of hits, 73 pitches. Was awfully sharp. Struck out 3 in the Fairmont call to post. So the new pitcher is John Gant for St. Louis. It's a new battery is, I believe that is Kisner now behind the plate. Numbers for Gant a season ago. Very valuable coming out of the Cardinal pen. He had been stretched out in this camp, potentially as a starter. And the first pitch taken for a ball. This is Riley Mahan at the plate. Pinch hitting for Urania. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, it seems like that's one of the differences you see in today. The reliever comes in, and even though Gant's been stretched out as a starter, the first 2 pitches off speed.
Yep. And the 1-1 pitch. And it's spring training and doing it too.
That's right. 3 off speed in a row now, which you were taught never to do. 2 off speed and then fastball.
2-1 pitch. John Gant out of play.
Just great downhill playing from John Gant. You see that those off-speed pitches that he had when you talk about tunneling again, and that fastball coming exactly out of the same plane but staying in the zone for a strike.
To look at Mike Maddox, Cardinals pitching coach, and the 2-2 pitch. Slap the other way, and that ball is down and fair and into the left field corner. Mahan to second base with a leadoff double.
Dylan Carlson now in left field, and you see him doing a great job of paying attention to where he was, making a good play off the wall. Here you see him going into the corner, not trying to be too aggressive, just making sure he's making a good play.
Give me your impressions of watching Dylan day in and day out.
Amazing. I mean, he really carries himself like a big leaguer, like a pro, like he's been there before. And when you watch him play the outfield, whether it doesn't matter if he's in left, center, or right, he is fantastic.
Pickoff, and it hits Mahan. As the ball scoots away, and he's slow to gather himself. Cardinals were working on this today, this exact play. Just pickoffs with the pitchers before our first pitch here on the main field.
You always hear Mike Schilt talking about the little things, anywhere we can steal an out. Last year it came down to that one game, so runner in scoring position, if we could steal an out right there off a second, why not work on it? You know, and you hear Brad Miller, who came from different organizations, you hear him talk a lot about, you know, coming over here and the attention to detail and how everybody's, you know, trying to do all the little things right, and how impressed he's been with our organization.
Bunting over Gant, and a play at third. Heads up by Sosa to get the lead runner. Wow.
Talk about baseball IQ and paying attention to where you are, what's happening. He knew he had no chance at first. You see him just get the lead runner, as you said. The play's in front of him.
A lot of things to talk about on this play. Heads up first and foremost by Sosa. But if you're the runner, you're kind of caught no man's land on that, aren't you?
I think you're caught no man's man, and I feel like he made a good read. Most second basemen would come in and still try to at least take a peek at first. When you watch Sosa come in, he didn't even look at first. He fielded that ball and knew exactly where he was going, which was third base.
There's John Bertie. Struck out swinging, also flied to center.
Here's the play here. When you watch Sosa come in for this ball, he doesn't even peek at first whatsoever. He sees the play over here, and he's going right to third. That's just a heads-up play.
As a runner, he's almost got to go back, doesn't he, in that spot?
He might. I think it depends where your jump is. I didn't, you know, I was watching Sosa on
hesitated.
that play, but where he was, right, was a secondary big, because he's got to wait to see if Gant can catch that or not, and you're not going to know that till it happens.
Gant very good at getting a ground ball, which would mean potential of a double play here. No score. Nothing in one. Bertie would be one of the tougher guys to double up with his speed. Have to be hard hit. You talk about baseball IQ, as Rick mentioned, and that's Edmundo Sosa, who's had a fabulous camp here for the Cardinals. I mean, really good. Just off the plate.
And you talk about Bertie's speed here. Every one of these infielders knows who's in the box. So they're playing mid-depth now, but they know if that ball's not hit exactly to them, that they're not going to have a play at a chance to turn to. Good slider down in the dirt. You see Gant with that good downhill plane. That's why he's so good at getting ground balls. You know, that pitch looks like it's going to be a fastball and then breaks off the table at the end.
Check on the runner at first. One ball and two strikes. Into right, slicing, and foul. Right into that Cardinal bullpen. So one ball, two strikes. John Gant, a look at his numbers as a starter and reliever. Those are career marks. Had 19 starts a couple of years ago, and there's a swing and a miss. Good pitch. And with that, there's 2 away.
See Gant just throwing everything down in the bottom of the zone right there. 1 out, trying to get the double play. Everything just working down, barreling down.
So 2 outs, runner at first. Here's Corey Dickerson.
Talked about it early, Corey Dickerson's ability to hit a fastball. Be interesting to see how Gant starts him off here with an off speeder. Does he go with the heater?
Kept in front. Nice play.
He did go with the fastball, and sometimes that's the advantage of having a good fastball like that Gant has. Regardless if a guy will try to jump you on that first pitch heater or not.
And the 1-0 pitch by John Gant. Did you ever try a Vulcan grip on a changeup?
I tried them all. So a changeup was a pitch that I just didn't have a lot of control of, or not consistently. So I tried every grip I could. I ended up playing with Joe Nelson, who threw the Vulcan, and tried to teach it to me, but I just couldn't figure it out.
So it's between, basically you've got 2 fingers and a thumb on the left side of the ball, your other 2 on the right. You split it and try to control it. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do.
No. Joe Nelson, who threw a great one, told me he would also try to turn it over at the last minute, and it was nasty.
And then you got a guy like Gant who has that pitch exceptional, really sells it. Mid-90s fastball, and I think overlooked is his curveball. His curveball is awfully good too.
Just such good downhill playing.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Hit out of play.
There's a fastball there. What that means, so downhill playing, so when he throws that fastball at the bottom of the zone, and as a hitter, it'll look like it's going to bounce in the dirt, but it'll just stay and kind of hover in there at the knees. Now he can throw any other pitch he has off of that exact same plane. You go to swing at it, and it bounces in the dirt.
Time called.
Anytime a hitter calls time when a pitcher's coming set, it always makes you wonder if he thinks he has something and where he's going in to get a grip for the ball and he wants to see it again.
I think with a Vulcan grip too, especially with a guy like Gant, you could pick that up. It's a tougher pitch to get in between your fingers. He'll start out with that grip, but then he'll manipulate the glove sometimes coming set, just try to make sure that he's not tipping pitches.
Well, I think that Kisner's seen something too, because he called a slider before he called time, and after that they changed the pitch.
And the 1-2 by John Gant. Long look and time called. Now he's set in a 1-2 pitch to Dickerson. Just off the plate.
Runner had a pretty big lead there over at first. Wouldn't be surprised if we throw over right here.
Runner goes, and a fly ball into right. Catch made. Justin Williams in right field. Scoreless inning for Gant. We're midway through 6. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by Hyundai. Visit your local St. Louis Hyundai dealer and test drive a Hyundai today. And by Great Southern Bank. Understanding what really matters. Bottom of the 6th, and there is no score. This is Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Dylan Carlson at the plate.
One of the impressive things about Dylan Carlson is his ability to keep the bat through the hitting zone for so long.
New right-hander Josh Smith spent time last year with the Red Sox. You said to me, now listen to what I'm saying, Dan, but Dylan Carlson keeps the bat through the zone like Big Mac, Mark McGwire.
So I seen him hitting in the cage, and it just automatically reminded me of Big Mac's swing. I'm not talking about the power because, you know, Big Mac had the most power I've ever seen. But as long as that bat stayed through the zone, short to it, long through it, you hear to the lot, but it really reminded me of that.
And he's bunting here, bunts it off the plate, but foul. One thing he can do is run, too. He was down the line quickly.
He can run. He can play defense. There you see him trying to steal a hit with a bunt. Great play. Leading off the inning.
A ball and 2 strikes. First plate appearance for Carlson today. He's had a very good spring. And that one hit him. Looks like it may have gotten him on his back foot.
It's one way to get on base. We got ice. You see the pitcher trying to just yank a curveball down in the dirt. Ends up pulling it into his back foot. Oof. Got the top of that foot, too. That might leave a mark.
Justin Williams. Carlson a threat to steal at first base, and Williams hits a rope into center field, and watch Carlson run. 2 hops to the wall. Dylan being waved in. He will score on a rope off the bat of Justin Williams. 1-0 St. Louis.
What a really good swing that was. And when you watch Dylan Carlson get that jump on the ball, as soon as it was hit, he knew that it was going to be over the center field's head. And you see him turn the speed on. Here you see Justin Williams getting a fastball down the middle, putting a great swing on it, staying balanced, using those hands. Dylan Carlson off to the races as soon as that ball was hit.
He scored easily all the way from first, and as you mentioned, read it perfectly and off to the races and scores the first run of this game. Now Tommy Edman with a runner at second and nobody out. I know we have sabermetrics. I know we've got analytics. But there's still something about playing the game the right way, which in this case is moving the runner over to third or bringing him in.
No question. You see that first pitch, Tommy, they're acting like he was going to bunt.
Yes.
And he may have if it would have been a strike. But you got to like it. Talk about him being fundamentally sound, him aware and having the eyesight to recognize that the pitch was a ball and pull the bunt back.
The 2-0 pitch pulled foul. So my point is there's still a guy in this game and a place for him that plays the game the right way.
Absolutely.
Like it's been played for 100 years.
That's right. I think, and when you talk about Tommy Edman, you talk about the fundamentals. That's what you talk about. But you know what? That's Cardinal baseball. Always has been. I think there'll be a place for that here, especially under Mike Schill.
2-1 pitch. And you think about it, too, with the offense, with the question marks that they have, it's going to be little things like this and bringing that runner in from second with nobody out. It's going to take them to a different level. This team is going to pitch. I mean, they've got pitching.
We're going to pitch. We're going to play defense. You see the intent of spring training, them working on all those little things just for that.
And Edman pops it up. We'll find the seats and out of play is Souvenir.
You know, how many times over the last couple of years when you're watching the playoffs or the World Series, if somebody could have just bunted a guy over, would it have changed the game? And I felt like it's happened a lot.
Yes. Just off the plate, and he draws the walk.
So we talk about the fundamentals, but here you're talking about just the professional at bat. He's able to work that walk, didn't get out of the zone, even though he has a runner in scoring position. And a lot of times with young hitters, the tendency is, oh, there's a guy on second, they get jumping, they start chasing balls out of the zone. You see Tommy doing a great job of not doing that. Sosa with the great play. How many times after a great hit we see a big hit?
Showing bunt here and pushed it foul.
Love it. Small ball all over the place.
The difference with Mundo Sosa in this camp as opposed to other years, it's been his power. He's had a very good camp at the plate and showing more power, and he's also as versatile of a defender. I mean, he's elite at just about any spot on the infield.
He had a great winter ball, and he's taken what he did in winter ball and brought that to spring training. Not only that, but a really good personality. Pleasure to be around.
Pushes it up the first base line. A beauty that rolls fair.
Wow.
And runners advance to second and third.
Aguilar got lucky on that. He played that ball because he thought it was going to go foul. He let it go. Thank goodness the second baseman was there for him, or that might have hit the base and been a double. Or hopped over the base. Here you see him coming in. He's looking at it. He's thinking it's going to go foul, so he lets it go. If the second baseman doesn't back up right there, that ball might hop over the bag and just keep going.
This is Dennis Ortega. Took over behind the plate. Infield in, runners at second and third. Ortega had a huge home run earlier in camp a couple of weekends ago. 2 outs, tie game in the ninth against Houston. Also popped an RBI double. But he's in a tough position in the Cardinals organization, and that's catcher. The guys have been saying that since 2004. The incumbent is pretty darn good.
Yachty's ability to just keep going and playing at such a high level really is amazing.
And the 0-1. Base hit in the center. 1 run is in. That's Williams. Here comes Edman to score. Ortega drives in a pair. 3-0 Cardinals.
Ortega with a great swing, and here we talk about Edman again with his fundamentals, his baseball IQ. Here you see the jump that he gets on this play. He's ready to take off. As soon as that ball was hit, he is gone. Without that, he might have to be held at third. You know, for the third base coach, Pop Warner, when he's watching the play, he has to watch and see if Edman got a jump, but he took off as soon as he's seen that ball hit.
So the Cardinals have picked up 3 here in the bottom of the 6th. The batter will be Brad Miller, who is 0 for 2 today. Cardinal third baseman. Ortega, the runner at first, with 1 out.
You know, you don't see anybody warming up in the Marlins bullpen, this is another situation where you talk about they must, you know, face a minimum of 3 hitters. You got the pitcher on deck, and if we roll around to the top of the lineup, you know, I think back in the days, this would be a position where they got somebody warming up, ready to come in and face those guys.
Sure. 1-0 pitch to Miller. Check on Ortega.
Cold beer, cold beer. Cold beer.
And John Gant on deck. Nobody getting loose, so he will hit.
You see the shift on for Brad Miller, and the pitcher still trying to tack him away. Not worried about throwing anything in, so he can pull it over there where those guys are, just still pumping it out their way.
And that's out of play. If you're wondering, the crowd not quite as big as we'd normally see. It's still a nice crowd, but not quite as big as we'd normally have this time of year in spring training, with many of the schools out for spring break. Next week would be a week that you'd have packed house here at the ballpark. 2-2 inside corner. Out number 2.
Great pitch. Tough pitch for a hitter to cover there with 2 strikes. You see the fastball in, up and in. For a hitter, you know what, you want to give the pitcher that, tip your cap and walk away, because you're trying to cover the off-speed in, fastballs out, over and away.
So John Gant at the plate. $3-0 our score.
Gant going with the no batting gloves. I love it. First pitch, he looked ready to hit. That pitch there, he looked like he was on automatic take.
One ball and 2 strikes on John Gant. And he did go. So the strikeout, but the Cardinals pick up 3 runs. It started with Dylan Carlson hit by a pitch. Justin Williams with a double to center to bring him in. A walk. Sacrifice. 2020 Cardinals Hall of Fame voting now live through April 17th. Vote for 2 candidates at cardinals.com/HOF. It's presented by Edward Jones. Carlton, Hernandez, Herr, Morris, Renteria, Smith, and Tudor. Another inning of work here for John Gant. There's a Hall of Famer there, and Willie McGee. I know you worked with Willie in the outfielders.
I did.
Special guy.
Last call.
Jesus Aguilar at the plate.
You know, I was on the team when Tony La Russa sent him out to right field and had him brought back in to get his last standing ovation when he retired. What an amazing moment.
Right-hander throwing in the pen for the Marlins. And the 0-2 pitch. Aguilar against the shift. Sosa ranging to his left and makes the play. Good play.
Great play. Really showing off his range right there. Here you see him playing over on the left side of the bag, using his range and speed. He knows who's running. That's not an easy play whatsoever, moving at that angle, and he has to throw back across his body to first.
Here's Matt Joyce, one out here in the 7th inning. Hits it the other way, slicing over. Dylan Carlson cuts it off, and a strong throw back into the infield.
Great throw. One hop throw. That's a safe throw. Sometimes young players get out of control there. Go ahead and try to throw it all the way, make an error. Now this guy's standing on third. You see Dylan coming over. He knows he doesn't have a chance to make a play, so he takes his time right here to the one hop throw. Making a good throw into second versus trying to throw it all the way there, possibly throwing it down into the right field corner.
One out and a runner at first base. Here's Sean Rodriguez. Magneuris Sierra is the new runner at first base, coming into pinch run. Former Cardinal that has tremendous speed. And the 1-0 pitch by Gant. 2-0.
I think Gant knows that. You see him trying to speed up his delivery there. Sierra acting like he was going to go, causing a distraction behind him. Gant throwing over, checking on the runner. As a hitter, this can be a good time to go here. The pitcher with a 2-0 count really wants to focus on throwing a quality strike. Doesn't want to rush and just groove one down the middle.
The 2-0 pitch by John Gant. Runner goes. Ortega's throw to second. Nice pick by Sosa, and a tag. Got him.
What a good throw by Ortega there. Great pick by Sosa. Nice play. Here you see the play. Sosa getting there, leaving the glove there. You see him not trying to jerk his hand up and make that play. They're taught to just get the glove in the air so he can make that tag in a downward motion.
And the 2-1 pitch. Taken low, 3-1. Three and two.
Great fastball there down in the zone.
Three-two pitch, John Gant. Popped up. Ravello over with Ortega, and it's out of play. Another 3-2 pitch by John Gant. And he walked him. So the 2-out walk by Sean Rodriguez. And the batter will be Ryan LaVarnway. He's had big league action. Various teams.
Mattingly put another pinch runner in. That's enough for his starters today. Does 2 in a row.
And a pitch taken low. Two balls and no strikes, and Mike Maddox will have a visit here with John Gant. Maybe seeing something here, Rick, with mechanics.
It almost seemed like he was getting out ahead of himself, not really staying over his balance point there. Especially when you see him miss high. We talked about it earlier with that good downward plane. So when you're seeing him missing up and out of the zone, like he's just getting his front side and his upper body's getting out there too quick, and he's just not staying back long enough.
MLB at Bat available for you. The app that brings you baseball, stats, highlights, news, and more. MLB.tv. Three 3-0 with 2 outs and a runner at first. There it is, 3-1. And another walk here for Gant. That might get some activity here for the Cardinals up in their pen with 2 outs here in the 7th inning, and the tying run now coming to the plate. Bryson Brigman. And with that, Mike Maddox called down to the bullpen. No bullpen phone here, so walkie-talkie.
Old school hand signals.
There you go. Except you say get the right-hander up. You got 30 of them down there. 2 outs and 2 on. The pitch taken down and in.
Another off-speed pitch. You see Gant start a lot of these hitters out with off-speed today. Sometimes pitchers use off-speed pitches to get their rhythm back too, because off-speed pitches forces you to stay back longer to throw a strike with it.
It's Tyler Webb starting to throw in the Cardinal pen. You just see the Gant mechanically a little bit out of whack here.
He's definitely not feeling something. You see him keep looking at his hands. Something is uncomfortable for him.
Two-0 pitch, 3-0. It's an uncomfortable feeling. You know it. Every pitcher that's ever played this game knows it. You just can't throw a strike.
Sometimes something just doesn't feel right.
Last call for alcohol, folks.
And the 3-0 pitch here from John Gant. 3-1. Snaps back at the baseball. 3-1 pitch. Hit down the right field line. Wind will take that out of play. And the runner's off with this next pitch.
A lot of people will tell you the 3-1, the 3-0, and the 3-1 are the easy ones. And now that you get to 3-2, this is the hard one to throw a strike on. Woody Williams used to say that all the time. As soon as they got to the 3-2, he'd say, okay, here comes the hard one.
Runners go, and the pitch is tapped foul.
Good piece of hitting right there. 3-2 slider. Batter was able to stay on it.
Three-two pitch again. And a fly ball to Carlson. Makes the catch. Marlins strand a pair. Time to stretch here at the ballpark. 3-0 St. Louis. 4 hits aside and a 3-0 St. Louis lead. 3 runs picked up in the home half of the 6th. Drew Steckenrider. We saw him over the weekend pitching against the Cardinals. This will be his 4th appearance this spring. He had 15 appearances last year. It's a guy that used to throw really hard.
Yes, he
really hard. Harrison Bader at the plate, showing bunt, and pulls back. Taps it foul.
Third one in the last 3 innings.
Strike 2 on Bader.
Steckenrider really slowed down on that breaking pitch right there compared to the first pitch fastball. And if you watch it, Bader, I think he noticed it too. It seemed like he's seen it and really slowed himself down and got a pretty good swing off on that off speed.
Bader 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and also fly to center. Did not go. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oh, he got his bat, I believe.
At first, I thought it hit his elbow.
Oh, yeah, get the bat. Here's a 1-2. Strikeout of Bader. And that's how we start play here in the home half of the 7th. Rangel Ravelo. For 2, pair of groundouts today. Grounded to third, also grounded to second. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
I feel like he's really slowing down on that breaking ball.
Sure
He's gonna
does.
have to work on that. He wants to make it through a full season.
Hitters detect that very quickly.
Yes.
Word gets out.
Absolutely.
Nothing at 2 the count. And Ravelo fouls it back. It's been kind of an odd day here at the ballpark, hasn't it?
It has.
No other way to put it.
There's a strange feel to it.
And Ravelo hit by the pitch.
Foul ball. Another one.
Or is it? I think you're right. Get the knob of the bat, I guess, maybe.
You hit it on the head. It's been an odd day here at the ballpark.
Oh, I got his hand almost. And Ravello puts it into play. Shallow right, and the catch made.
Long run for the right fielder. Good job of staying focused throughout the play.
And with that, there's 2 down and Dylan Carlson.
Calling a homer if he hangs one of those curveballs to Dylan.
Carlson hit by a pitch first time up, and then scored on the double by Justin Williams, who's at the on-deck circle.
1-1 count. The Marlins shifting over.
One and two. Fans don't like that call.
He went there.
Back to the pitchers. Steckenrider a flip to first, and Carlson retired. 8th inning rolls in. Tyler Webb, the lefty, takes over when we come back. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by your local Kia dealers. Visit KiaDealers.com to see what it means to give everything. By Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by your local St. Louis area Volkswagen dealers. Three 0 in the top of the 8th inning. Tyler Webb will take over in this game. We have just been informed officially by Major League Baseball that Major League Baseball to delay the 2020 opening day by at least 2 weeks. Spring training games canceled as of 4 Eastern today. World Baseball Classic qualifying games will be postponed. MLB will continue to evaluate ongoing events and effects on 2020 scheduling. Following a call with the 30 clubs and after a consultation with the Major League Baseball Players Association, Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that Major League Baseball has decided to suspend spring training games and to delay the start of the 2020 regular season by at least 2 weeks due to the national emergency created by the coronavirus pandemic. This action is being taken in the interest of the safety and well-being of our players, clubs, and our millions of loyal fans. MLB will continue to evaluate ongoing events leading up to the start of the season. Guidance related to daily operations and workouts will be relayed to clubs in the coming days. As of 4 Eastern today, forthcoming spring training games have been canceled. 2020 World Baseball Classic qualifier games in Tucson have been postponed indefinitely. Major League Baseball and the clubs have been preparing a variety of contingency plans regarding the 2020 regular season schedule. MLB will announce the effects on the schedule at an appropriate time and will remain flexible as events warrant, with the hope of resuming normal operations as soon as possible. Nothing is more important to us than the health and safety of our players, employees, and fans. MLB will continue to undertake the precautions and best practices recommended by public health experts. We send our best wishes to all individuals and communities that have been impacted by coronavirus. Official statement coming out from Major League Baseball. So this is our final spring training game.
How about that? You know, and it seemed like watching what the other sports did, you know, they were going to have to follow suit.
I just wonder if it begs the question, why did we play today? Why do we continue to play today? And that's something you have to take in mind now with all these fans in this ballpark.
No doubt about it. Especially wondering when they came to that decision, what time of the day it was, or why we're going to continue to play.
Yes.
Right.
A strikeout there for Tyler Webb. So 2 outs and nobody on. Christian Lopes will be the batter. So I guess we'll find out from Mike Schilt, John Mozeliak after the game how the Cardinals will handle this. If the players disperse out of camp, do they go to their homes? Do they stay here and play inter-squad games? The minor leaguers just reported. So you have roughly 140, 150 minor league players in camp now. What happens with them? I mean, the trickle-down effect of this is immense. It's not just the games on the major league level, but then the preparation that goes into this as well for the entire organization and the entire baseball community. But that takes a back seat to what's happening in our world. Webb, a 1-2-3. So we're in the bottom of the 8th, and it's 3-0 in what will be the final spring training game of 2020. Brad Boxberger is the new pitcher. Last season, his numbers with the Royals. So MLB has suspended spring training and delayed the start of the season by at least 2 weeks, which would be then April 9th. Season was to begin on March 26th in Cincinnati. April 9th then would be 2 weeks from that Thursday. It's all speculation at this point on how teams will handle this, if players will leave camp, go to their homes. You know, but the reality is that's not important right now. The health of everybody here at this ballpark, players, everybody.
Families back home.
Yes.
Yep.
I've had a lot of players tell me and tell you, you know, they have elderly parents or grandparents that they're concerned about. There are some players that have young families. They want to be reunited with their loved ones.
This puts everything into perspective.
Oh boy, does it ever. Justin Williams with an RBI double. It's a high towering fly ball out to left field. Wynn takes that out of play. You got to wonder if some of the regulars that were in this lineup today, and it happens many times, you know, you play 4 or 5 innings and then you'll see that group of veterans walk down the right field line and head to the clubhouse, shower up, go do whatever they're going to do for the rest of the day and get out of here. You know, you wonder if they left camp,
right,
not to return until told. I mean, that's something to think about. I'm sure Mike Schilt is probably thinking about right now, to an extent, what do I want to say to the media?
Yep.
What do I want to portray to my fans? And our fans, I should say, not just his, but meaning Cardinal fans.
Yep.
What's the message we want to get out? Here's Max Schrock. He's had a good camp last year in the minor leagues. And there's just so much now to think about when, you know, this is the time of year in spring training, as you well know, having done both sides of it. But pitchers started to amp it up a little bit. Adam Wainwright going 5 innings today. Next time out might be 6 or 7. Pitch count around 90. You know, how does Major League Baseball handle this in terms of, can you get in a full season? Will there be a full season? I mean, there's just so many things that go into this.
So many moving parts, and when you think about it just from a playing standpoint, the way that they break up spring training, usually, you know, hey, the first third we're getting after it, middle third we take it easy, the last third let's get after it again and push this into the season. And now if you're going to have a few weeks off, how do you get these guys prepared in the correct way? How are they training? What are they doing? How are they getting their reps in? Definitely a lot to think about.
I want to make sure we're clear about this. This is not the most important thing that we're talking about, worrying about getting players ready for a season. But if indeed they would come back in 2 weeks, you got to think about pitchers, you know, and I'm sure they're going to instruct their guys throwing on the side, go through, do simulated bullpens of whatever you can to stay in shape. Players have to stay in shape.
Yep.
All those things. But that's, again, I mean, that takes a back seat to what's happening in our world, in our country right now. But as it pertains to baseball,
as it just pertains to, that's right, from a playing
you got to think of
standpoint.
those things.
Yep.
Here's Edmundo Sosa.
More important for the pitchers, it takes them longer to get ready.
What about the guys, the players from other countries?
Right.
Traveling. That's something to think about too. Kwon Young Kim.
Yep.
Guys from the Dominican. One ball and 2 strikes. And that's hit down the right field line, slicing, foul.
You know, you start wondering if they cancel flights and if they can even get a flight home and how all this is going to play out, right?
Or if you got a flight out, would you be able to come back in the country?
Great point.
These are all things that are unsettled at this point. NHL has suspended their season. NBA did last night, pulling players off the floor. And I don't know what's happening in other games around Major League Baseball. This may be the only game going right now. And the catch made by Sosa. It's 3-0. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. With Rick Ankiel, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 3-0. And again, if you have just joined us, Major League Baseball will delay 2020 opening day by at least 2 weeks, and spring training games canceled as of 4 o'clock Eastern today, so about 45 minutes.
It's hard not to think about why we're still continuing to play in a way.
Here's Brian Miller against Giovanni Gallegos, and that is a strike. Miller last season in the minor leagues.
Good fastball down and away.
0-2 the count. First out, and that's how we start play in this 9th inning.
That's almost unfair. Good fastballs down the zone, follows it up with that slider. Looks like it's going to be that fastball. Hitter has no choice but to swing.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You see Ortega after giving a sign to the pitcher there, letting the first baseman know, hey, if he takes a swing at this and he hits a spot, that ball should be pulled over to you.
See Yachty do that many times, so indication maybe off speed coming. Pitch inside.
And it's not that the fielders aren't ready, but that helps out so much because now it's like, okay, I'm really focused, locked in here. This ball might come to me.
And that is tap foul. One ball, two strikes. Cardinals picked up 3 runs back in the bottom of the 6th. Double by Justin Williams, 2-run single by Ortega. The 2-2 hit the other way. Carlson, very calm.
You see Dylan getting a good jump on that ball, and exactly like you said, just calm. And I think that's what he brings to the table when you hear people talk about it, the way he carries himself and how he plays. It seems like he's been in the big leagues. That's not a tough, I mean, that's not an easy play right there, but you see him getting back in position, no panic whatsoever. This looks like he belongs here in the big leagues.
Magneuris Sierra with 2 outs.
See the infield in with his speed.
One ball and 1 strike. He is out of options, so this is clearly a very big camp for Sierra.
A lot of times for a player that could be a good thing because you think, hey, you know what, if they don't want my services here, then I have a chance to go somewhere else and play in the big leagues.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
Doesn't always work that way, but you know, there are times when maybe you get released and off you go and somebody else wants you and you take off.
One ball, 2 strikes, and a strikeout for Gallegos. And basically that ends spring training, at least games in 2020.
Yep. Just wishing everybody to be smart, be safe, and health.
So we'll step aside. We'll wrap it up in a moment. The final of 3-0. Cardinals win it. Back to wrap it up.